a lot of credit for his earlier performances in the LPL, performing a very adept, deft hand in the top lane, you know, being safe, playing Maokai. But this one time, he was completely dismantled by EDG, whose early game plan was hold down a Pokemon at every cost, and it was very successful.
Certainly was, as we have the bans coming through. LeBlanc being taken off the board from EDG, answered by the Cassidon over the side of Invictus Gaming, and Lissandra going to be the third ban to come through. EDG don't want to see that one.
Yeah, the LeBlanc ban was one of the few bans that we lost during the previous champs that weren't able to see, so that hasn't been allowed all series long. Be interested to see how IG regroup from this. They've kept the same lineup. Obviously, they had the flexibility to bring in Save and swap Rookie for Satai in the mid lane right there, but they looked so muddied with that lineup previously. Maybe they're hoping they can see a rebound right here, because you know, if you can channel all that emotion into sheer team play, that would be a big improvement.
Yeah, we'll see if they can turn it around and really apply themselves into getting revenge now after what was a pretty demoralizing loss that they took from EDG. But thinking about their last ban, going to be Rek'Sai being taken off the board, and that's a very good idea. We saw Clear Love on that one time before, and he was dominating on that hero. Gnar being taken off this time though, so Koro not going to have that one. His Gnar ultimates were fantastic, and Azir not going to be going over to Rookie as well, and just a really strong mid laner.
And standard lock-in of Janna right here. Mako looked very good on that champion. The disengaged flavor to complement Mouse, who's been an engaged support so far. I'm interested to see if they rotate these players or whether this is just a once-off. We're not really sure about that, but IG, those are two power picks they've locked in.
Yeah, they have managed to pick up that Sivir and the Jarvan and sort of leaving themselves open to construct a team comp in response to the next couple of picks as well, which I really like. But Kakao did not look very comfortable in that last game on that Jarvan, unfortunately, and has been playing it a lot, of course, is a seasoned Jarvan player, but just got relatively schooled by Clear Love, you have to say, in that jungle.
Yeah, and Clear Love's someone who's traditionally been more of a defensive jungle. To see him on the offensive against one of the famous, world-famous aggressive pathing junglers like Kakao, who's won games off his own backs from his aggressive early movements, it was almost surreal to see.
It was. We'll see whether he can turn it around, really pick himself up some wins here, as we do see Lee Sin and Corki being locked in over the other side. Deft is going to be the one on the mid-game carry this time around as Clear Love picks up that Lee Sin, so a lot more early focus coming through from EDG.
And look, they closed out that previous game really fast, and previously when we saw EDG take on LGD actually, it was the Jinx as the counter pick to the Sivir, which worked very well for them here. This time we're going to see the Corki picked up, which of course tells us it's all about the mid-game grouping. It's all about cementing an early lead and translating that into a quick finish. It didn't work for IG last time out, but it was Kid picking up those items at a very fast pace. It's just the game had kind of snowballed out of the way strategically that it didn't matter at that point. And very important, we see the Maokai lock in here. Finally, Pokemon's going to be able to get back to that champion that he's shown so much success on so far.
Yeah, and really putting him on a comfort pick is going to be important this game. Getting Pokemon back into this, especially mentally, is really going to help the IG lineup, because he had a horrible game last time around. Pawn thinking about an Orianna here, as Miko just hovering that Rumble this time around. But EDG have a lot of options here, just because the first three picks are very sort of open-ended.
Absolutely, they haven't pigeonholed themselves into any comp in particular, and if we do see these two lock-ins at this point, they kind of have a bit of everything here. They've got a lot of poke, that's for sure, but their team fighting doesn't really feel like Rumble actually fits so well with this comp, because they have so little CC. I mean, look at the CC effects they have available here. They have the Electro Harpoon from Rumble, Lee Sin's Cripple and Kick, some knockups from Janna, which is mostly going to be used for disengage. This is almost a pure poke team, which haven't seen so much on this Season 5 or 2015 patch.
Yeah, and it is, as you mentioned, going to be difficult for these equalizers to get in the right spots, and we'll probably rely on use in those jungle corridors and maybe managing to have very effective vision around the map to start fights where EDG want them to, but it is going to be Syndra as the response here for Pawn's Jace there in the mid lane, and especially in Worlds, we know how devastating that Jace can be. And if we have a look at this EDG lineup, every power spike from these champions is around that mid game. And if they group and really do some work around that time, things are going to get awful for Invictus Gaming very quickly.
You turn that around though, Atlas. I mean, Maokai, Jarvan, Syndra, and then Sivir and Thresh in the bottom lane. This is the sort of team comp that will instantly outscale EDG after the mid game.
Yeah, true.
Once you get to late game, if we see Pokemon getting, Rod of Ages, Frozen Heart getting tanky, there's just not the damage to be able to tank bust on this team. Between Jace and Corki, they have excellent poke, they have excellent siege, they can take turrets very well. But if they ever fall behind here, EDG, I just don't think their comp even gives them a hope of getting back into this game.
Yeah, I think Invictus Gaming sort of trying to play for that late game spot, trying to get themselves into this game, but EDG probably having the mentality that we broke Invictus Game in our last matchup, and let's make sure that we have the tools at our disposal in order to clear this one out as quickly as we can, because if they can capitalize on a demoralized Invictus Gaming, then this game could be over very quickly.
And I guess it's going to be a test of the psychological strength of this Invictus Gaming lineup, because I think on paper right here, although they don't have quite the same early power spikes, they still have very significant early game power spikes between Sivir and the rest of their comp. They're definitely not out with a shout in the late game.
Yeah, so let's get into game and see what we've got. Welcome onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. EDG on our blue side, Invictus Gaming on our red. And a pause. So let's just hop back and have a chat to you guys.
Yeah, welcome everyone back with a pause. That's just the way sometimes, unfortunately. It's an interesting one, because, I mean, Sivir Thresh, that's not a late game lane. They still have that Sivir pick as a bit of early game insurance. Of course, Cacao and Jarvan in particular has excellent early game presence right there. And EDG just have so little tankiness. They have no real frontline barring Lee Sin, who will eventually get access to some tanky items right here. It's a very curious comp they've gone for here. Pawn's actually gone for the exhaust on the Jace here, so he's obviously going to look for the melee form assassination on Rookie, and then just exhaust him to stop him instantly dying to the Syndra ultimate. So a lot of interesting flavors right here. I'm not really sure what the EDG comp was really built around here. I don't really see. I mean, the problem with this current meta is that because Dragon's so important, you usually build your comp around taking dragons, because if you get 5 dragons, it doesn't matter if you don't really have a strong DPS comp. If you're a really tanky team, you can just dive, you get the 12% bonus stats, it doesn't matter. So actually build around sieging in particular, it's just not something that we've seen be super effective on this patch.
Yeah, and it does look like they have a very sort of siege-focused comp with the rockets to come out of Corki, of course, those accelerated shock blasts from Jace, clearing out waves effectively and also poking people out from under their turrets as well. And we may even see the Equalizer being used as a siege tool here.
Absolutely. There is the potential for that, much like the same flavor as Gragas Ultimate was used in years past, just trying to zone people off objectives. It's always been so risky to run those siege comps, because if you ever fall behind, there's not really tools or windows to get back into a game.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can do it as we hop back onto the Rift. Pause has ended, and our Invictus Gaming lineup just heading out, just to try and defensively position themselves, trying to set up to try and get past this mid-game that EDG sort of are relying on.
And you have to think they have a point to prove both to themselves and their fans here after being so comprehensively dismantled in Game 1. And in the fashion they did, rolling over and dying is not something we see very often in competitive League of Legends. So that's probably why there was so much feeling between games right there. And EDG, they're smelling blood. I reckon they're going to go in for the early kill.
Oh, yeah, you could imagine that EDG are going to try to push on this wound, as it were, as they are positioning themselves to potentially take down Cacao here. 4 members strong. If they do land a Harpoon, Cacao could be in trouble, but of course, Koro not up far enough to get that one off, and they just get some warding down. We
actually see some aggressive moves in the jungle also right here. Kitty's in a lot of trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. Probably has that Valkyrie available if he needs to. Kitty's just going to land the death sentence straight into their face. He's trying to turn it around as his team members have moved to help him. Kitty's now in a lot of trouble, gets exhausted, forced to use that flash. 3 flashes in total already for first blood. And there's the shield onto Pawn as well. Cacao in the backline does secure the kill, but sacrifices himself for it. Members falling all over this map as there is such a just disgusting fight early on.
It was a battle royale right there, Atlas. So much damage going down. We try and take solace over who picked up the kills right here. Rumble and Janna, unfortunately, picking up first blood on EDG's side. 2 kills to both the support, to the jungle and mid laner here. The KT Roster duo, they have their tails up, they have early kills. And we're going to see a replay right here. Deft had skilled Phosphorus Bomb already, so he couldn't skill Valkyrie and get away. He had to commit, and of course they had 2 members come in, so instant flash being used by Kid right there. He's zoned out of damage for the longest time in this fight, but it took so long for them to get the first kill that by the time the fight had grouped, they'd really overextended here at EDG. So, of course, the AD carry falls first. The answering kill on Kakao is so even at level 1 right here. And I have to say, I like the kill distribution on IG that much more than the kill distribution on EDG.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that IG still have 2 flashes available where there's only one on Koro left up here for EDG. It's Pawn to come through and just get some shock blast down, and it's going to be really difficult for EDG to find their footing now because they know that the pressure is on. They're fighting against a clock here, you have to say.
They definitely are fighting against a clock. So whenever you're doing kill trades, which remain even in the game like this, you have to favor the team that's trying to take it late. So early advantage, IG.
Oh, there's the max range starting to come through. A beautiful knock up at exactly the right time here as well, as Pawn takes a lot of damage. Rookie with the flash auto attack, takes the turret hit but doesn't mind, and Invictus Gaming seem to be back.
That's the strategic brain I like to see from Kakao. He realized that with flashes down across the board, level 2 ganks on Java, and you hit that EQ, someone's dead. And that person there was Pawn falls for a second time already. And now EDG are being preyed upon. I like this. IG are really making smart adaptations this game.
They very much are, and it's really good to see Kakao getting some early pressure down. Of course, had a rough game last time and looking a lot better this time around.
Just taking solace of what's happened across the lanes here. Of course, with all his summoners available, Koro's been able to play very aggressively in the top lane. With that for early kill, and sitting on quite a lot of gold already because he wasn't able to shop with that kill, Koro is really the one that I think EDG are looking to rely upon right here because he's the only one completely unaffected by that big melee at the start of the game.
As we see, he has pushed this wave in quite effectively, and Pokemon now, you can already see 2 assists under his belt, is down 10 CS, but it looks to me like Clearlove actually still looking to shut this guy down, although just putting a ward in and backing off.
Yeah, Clearlove's pathing and play this game would be very interesting to me. He also hasn't fallen so far, but it's been Kakao who's got his tail up in the early game, already been involved in all 3 of Invictus Gaming's kills. Maybe we'll finally see that big performance from Kakao after struggling for the last 3 matches.
Oh, Nico actually getting caught by the death sentence there as Kid is going to get exhausted. That summoner spell does find its way back up after that early scuffle, but it was a nice play from Kid just to start that one off.
We see Kakao is well inside the red side jungle of EDG, farming camps right here. He smells blood. He wants to keep going in on this Jace, and as Rookie gets access to his ultimate, it's going to make those dives oh so much more sweeter.
Yeah, and Clearlove actually going to find Kakao here as well, but he is going to be able to take away that Raptor camp. Clearlove just trying to find his way into this game, you can tell.
IG have their tails up. It's a very small gold lead, but the momentum they picked up from that early melee, it almost feels like they brought EDG down to their level with those very early team fights, with that very early grouping. It worked a treat for them, and they're really trying to snowball that lead here.
You can see that Rookie actually putting on a lot of pressure there in the mid lane as we have a look at this bottom side of the map as Kid and Kitties falling back into their old style of controlling their lanes, and Kitty's really helping Kid out. They have such good synergy, these two.
And again, it's all about Koro in the top lane. He's the one that's really been expected to carry right here. He's the one who's doing so well in the early game right here. Double the CS or so of Pokemon.
Yeah, and it was always going to be a little bit difficult for Pokemon to emotionally get himself back into this one, but you can see it's still going to be tough against Koro, who's just such an experienced player.
We see Kakao has been very aggressive in his positioning on the map, and Clearlove, of course, doing his best to relieve pressure for his mid laner. He clears out the pink ward that's been spotting a couple of his engages right here. This map's looking very dark and scary if you're Pawn in the mid lane. Just about to get his flash back out.
Oh yeah, he's going to really want that one. Although you have to think that if that Unleashed Power comes out after the combo from Rookie, he's probably just going to die.
He's probably just going to die, and that's kind of the troll factor of Syndra. Sometimes that ultimate, it follows your flash.
Oh,
you feel
yeah.
doubly bad for dying and losing that important summoner. And Syndra, although she's had a couple of balance tweaks, she's still very, very strong in that mid lane.
Nice sidestep from Deft, getting him out of the way of that death sentence.
Very even on CS. This is where Deft and Mako want to be playing this lane. This is where Corki and Jana want to play this lane, just because if they're being pushed under the turret and Deft has to use his mana and the phosphorus bomb to clear minions, then that's what IG want to see. But if they're able to push in Sivir and force Sivir to clear AoE clear under a turret, then they're able to use that mana for harass as Deft and try and win this lane.
Yeah, as we do have EDG going for an early dragon here as well. Deft has swung around. They have a fair bit of damage for this one. You can see that IG just no idea what's going on. Pawn just throws in a Shock Blast, and Dragon's just free here for EDG yet again.
Yeah, they timed it with Syndra's back time there, and we see Syndra comes up with a huge bevy of items. Of course, would have been a massive factor in any of those team fights around the Dragon right there. Very smart timing coming down from EDG, and after their rotations in the first game, we shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but Rookie now with a gigantic CS advantage. Pawn just getting completely zoned away from these creeps. You can see Rookie very good at capitalizing on that early advantage.
And the top lane, the camera actually misses a solo kill coming out from Koro right here, doubling down that CS advantage. I guess the one thing Pawn can say is that because he does have access to the acceleration gate, Shock Blast, he does have some AoE wave clear. It's always been very hard to deny a Jace even in a 1v2 lane just because of how much AoE wave clear he has. But he's obviously realizing that if at any point a stun hits from Rookie, he's probably going to be dead.
He really is, and you can see EDG making up for their sort of losses here in the mid lane by having Koro just be a massive beast. And you have to think that we might see exactly what happens when this Rumble gets ahead if he manages to impact the next Dragon fight.
And this is kind of a 2015 EDG situation where Koro can actually be relied upon to carry from the top lane, which was never the case. It was always about you and Koro going even or better on wave clear champs in their lanes and focusing on Name carrying in the late game. But, you know, Deft obviously has a very similar flavor to Name, so there's not much of a difference there. You might say a slight upgrade in the bot lane, just commenting on their performance at World Championships. But this Koro, it's the same guy, but he's playing like a man possessed. He's been wonderful this season.
Oh, he most definitely has, especially in our last matchup as well. I mean, that Gnar was just terrifying to behold. But you have to think that, you know, Gnar, pretty strong champion on this patch at the same time.
He is, and look, he can play all the meta champions. He's able to carry from those champions as well, and that's why Koro is just being singled out for so much applause in the top lane.
EDG now sort of setting up here in this brush, unaware of the fact that there is a ward as their sweepers are on cooldown, and Invictus Gaming able to set up a possible counter-attack if they want to come in. EDG realizing that they're probably spotted out.
Definitely smart to back away there. That could have been a massive AoE stun coming out from Syndra right there. So smart to back away. Just go back to pressuring lanes. I mean, Koro's going to be very happy to sit in this top lane against against Maokai, because he's doing just fine.
Oh, more than just fine. Managing to get that solo kill after picking up a very early kill as well. Kid using that spell shield to great effect there in the bottom side of the map as Rookie continues to put on the pressure, unafraid of two members here in the mid lane.
And we're very close to 4v4 action in the mid lane as Clearlove's trying to relieve pressure where he can against Pawn. It's whenever Pawn eats one rotation that he's going to be in instant kill range. Hard to kill him from full health, though.
Yeah, as Deft and Nico taking a little bit of damage here on the bottom side. As Kid and Kitties are pressuring very, very hard. Of course, missing that cannon creep. It's horrible. Horrible experience as Rookie continues to put the pressure on Kakao. Coming around the back, but the stun doesn't land. Rookie gets aggressed on. Look at the power of the exhaust from Pawn as well. He takes down Rookie, does pay for it with his life as the Cataclysm comes through. Clearlove now forcing the flash out as Koro gets a lot of work done with that equalizer, but not quite placed well enough, and Kakao flags and drags his way out.
I mean, he had to choose between two options right there. He had to kind of split the difference. It was a good equalizer, but not enough to take down the smooth moves of Kakao, 1-for-1, and using a teleport.
Oh, no.
So it's a win for Invictus Gaming.
As the death sentence does land into a creep here in this bottom side of the map. Kid a little bit late on that spell shield. We've got a very aggressive Valkyrie to come in. Nick actually flashing forward, the heal being baited out, and the ultimate as well from Kid. And a lot of pressure now from EDG in the bottom side.
You can never quite factor in the burst damage coming down from the shield as Phosphorus Bomb. It's so much damage onto Kid. Has to flash and ultimate. Uses heal as well to get out of that engagement. Still has the heal up, does Deft. Very nice turning on the style right there. When we look at the gold, he's very close to finishing that Trinity Force. And Deft, he's a man who's been known to really understand the power spikes of these AD carries. I do expect the early grouping coming out from EDG just because the reality is, when those shock blasts and those rockets are coming out, until they get a few items, IG doesn't really have an answer.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult for them. So you see Deft picking up the dagger as well, very close, as you mentioned, to that Trinity Force, but Teleport having a relatively long cooldown now for Koro here as well, having used that in the middle lane to try and help out getting the kill onto Cacao and Pawn. So unable to really manage to teleport down to the next dragon fight should it occur. So it could be an opportunity here for Invictus Gaming.
Absolutely. IG has, what, about a 3.5 minute timer here once it spawns. So I guess 2.5 minutes once the dragon spawns, where EDG aren't really in a strategic position to be able to come and contest this dragon. So it's on IG to get the wards up. That's what they're doing right now, and take that free objective.
And now IG actually intelligently clearing out the vision here as well as Kitty getting rid of the ward in the dragon pit. You can see Cacao's dealt with the scuttle crab as well. And they're in good position here as it is coming up in 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit early for IG.
Well, I mean, I think it's never too early to clear out vision around dragon. Of course, Marta and Dandy were famous for getting exclusive vision on a dragon 1.5 minutes before it spawned. So it's good to have position on that and force the enemy to face check or get down really, really defensive wards and suboptimally use their resources.
And Kulov going to take this red buff in preparation for the dragon, which has just spawned here. Invictus Gaming now with an opportunity. They're on the clock as they try and wait for Koro, who's tanking up the turret here as well. Gets twisted advanced upon by Pokemon, who uses that passive to great effect. Oh, Arcane Smash just going short. And Koro playing with fire here.
I think Koro's doing his best to just keep Pokemon low to ensure that he can't actually teleport for a 5v4 situation at Dragon. At this point, it doesn't look like it's going to matter. EDG realize they're in no position to be able to take this objective, but smartly, you see the rotations coming out of Jason Lee Sin. It looks like they want at minimum a red buff, but possibly this top turret.
Yeah, and they were thinking about getting a Maokai as well, but Pokemon backing very far away before he decides to head back and pick up that Righteous Glory. Squirrel takes down the enemy red buff. So that's another one under his belt. Of course, EDG very good at trading these objectives. They make sure that they never just lose. Make sure that they pick up a trade.
It's the reality of top-level League of Legends is that whenever a team commits multiple resources to one area of the map, it opens up the opposite end of the map for your own aggression. So it's a smart movement right there from EDG. They only really get a buff out of it, so it's the absolute minimum trade. But it's better than just putting up your hands and recording down that timer.
Yeah, as Deft getting a lot of auto attack damage onto Kid here. You can see the power of Corki now that he has that Trinity Force is immense here in the bottom side of the map.
Look at this pickup from Koro. He's really going to try and push that mid-game advantage. He's got the Abyssal Scepter right here. And while you might look down and say, but he doesn't have a mage in the mid lane. It's not double AP, but Deft is going to be doing some ungodly damage on this Corki. Of course, all his spells do magic damage apart from the Gatling gun right there. So if Koro gets in and amongst it in a team fight, Deft's damage is going to be impressive.
Not to mention the fact that Koro on this Rumble has so much use for that flat magic penetration as well. And once he picks up those Sorcerer's Shoes, he's going to have so much added, I guess, lockdown of that. And it's going to work so well in conjunction with his kit because he just scales so well with levels.
It'll be very interesting to see how that interaction works. Which is the more important mid-game buy? Is it the Righteous Glory to double down on the massive movement speed between On the Hunt and, of course, this Maokai is going to be flying into the back of a team fight? Or is it going to be the flat Magic Pen and just this level 11, level 2 equalizer that's going to be doing crazy damage?
You can see Koro trying to finish off this turret. Vengeful Maelstrom does get popped by Pokemon here, but there's the equalizer and the turret falls down. Pokemon's just getting burned alive here. And Clearlove secures that kill.
Beautiful textbook equalizer coming down right there. It was predictable. Of course, Pokemon had wedged himself towards a wall, so he didn't really have anywhere to run, but Koro turns on the style, 2-0-1. Pokemon, look, it's not going to have that Rod of Ages Frozen Heart, but Righteous Glory in this team comp is actually very strong.
Yeah, and Pokemon just getting targeted this whole series. Did manage to have a little bit of a better start and isn't quite as far behind as he was. And being on this Maokai is going to be a better feeling heading into the later stages of the game. But you can see EDG just putting the pressure on. Kid is in a lot of trouble.
Koro actually predicted the flash there and actually Electro Harpoon the flashing Kid there. So he just continues to turn on the style, does he? Picks up another kill, going massive. If he can pick up a Zonia's, I mean, he's already got 1,600 gold in the bank. He's probably going to go and pick up a Needlessly Large Rod. If he can pick up a Zonia's and basically run into the front of a fight, pop that flame splitter and go into stasis, the damage is going to be silly.
It is just going to be ridiculous as Rookie just throws away that creep. Doesn't want that one. And EDG now trying to set up, of course. Koro now looking like the one to put the team on his back at this stage. The rest struggling just a little bit apart from Deft there on the bottom side, but hasn't managed to get himself a kill. Oh, Clearlove getting caught by the Death Sentence, actually deciding to go in. There's the Unleashed Power as well, but the answer is from Koro. That is a beautifully placed Cataclysm, and Invictus Gaming not quite managing to capitalize on it.
No, they couldn't even burst down Clearlove, who, whether it was on Nuna or Lee Sin, he always manages to live on a sliver of health, and Koro is always in the right position at the right time. The equalizer's down right here, but this is where the comp of EDG really hits its strongest point. They need the blue buff on Pawn. He's low on mana here, so that'll help their turret sieging, but their turret sieging is a sight to behold.
Yeah, Deft has a full mana bar as well, so these rockets are definitely an opportunity for him. Wave clear. Oh, actually, Kitties lands the Death Sentence. He gets played back as well. There's the box. Deft getting caught up. It has the Valkyrie available. Oh, what a beautiful flash from Pokemon to save him from that. And the Resonating Strike not to come through from Clearlove. Knows that that would spell death. But IG very low in this mid lane.
So many low members, but importantly, they haven't lost this structure right here. That's the important thing for IG. They don't mind if they trade health. They don't mind if they trade kills. It's the objective snowball, which is the only thing in this game they might not be able to come back from. So lucky for them, they keep the turret up.
Keeping the turret up, of course, and Koro now pushing in that top wave. Going to take away these Krugs as well. Looking for that Leandries by the looks of things. EDG may be caught out here as Kakao flags and drags his way through. Doesn't quite have the Cataclysm up yet.
Yeah, see Koro is anchored to the top lane here. Doesn't have teleport up, neither does Pokemon. So both of them are going to have to rotate down to Dragon if they're looking to compete for that objective.
Oh, Harpoon lands here as well. Koro getting instantly silenced by himself, but Pokemon knows that he's not going to be able to enter that lane at all.
And the damage is huge, but look at this rotation. They're committing very hard to take down Koro.
Yeah, Kitties has actually found him here as well. He's going to try and Lantern Kakao in, finds him. There's the turnaround attempt with the equalizer, beautifully placed. Takes the kill, and 3 members now here, and Koro thinks that he can find someone, but Pokemon picks up the kill, gets the shutdown gold as well. It's exactly what he needed. That EDG, the trade king, is going to trade for mid lane turret.
The sidestep on the flag and drag from Kakao was just majestic from Koro right there. He'll feel hard done by to not get a 2-for-1 trade, which is crazy when you're Rumble. But shades of PDD once again right there. When you're ahead as a Rumble, you can do some disgusting things.
Yeah, and look at what Koro's done as well. He drew 4 members there to that top lane. They got the middle lane turret, they got the blue buff, and they're going to get the dragon. This is beautifully played strategically from Edward Gaming.
Yeah, and IG, they just recognize, hey, we need to shut down Koro, but the cost was far too great this time. We're going to see the replay right here. Wait for the sidestep on the EQ. It's just beautiful League of Legends from Koro. There's a man on form. If he had a bit more time, you could have smelt a few more kills, but Rookie's like, all right, go away.
Yeah, and if Rookie wasn't there, I mean, that would have been a very different story. Could have potentially been a 1v3 situation for Koro in that top side of the map. Now has himself the needlessly large rod, and this is where things start to get very scary.
Yeah, I mean, he has so much gold and spent so well right here, and the fact that he has that synergy with Deft is something that's going to be just the Phosphorus Bomb and the rockets are going to be doing really surprising damage. It's one of those things where you kind of feel like you know how much a Sorcerer's Shoes Trinity Force Corki does in a team. Like you kind of know intuitively how much damage that Phosphorus Bomb is going to hit for. And when it's that surprising amount of burst damage, you just miscalculate important close trades that would have been so decisive previously.
Yeah, and you get very used to it as well because Corki has seen a lot of players. Pokemon's now getting poked down underneath this turret. This turret is not going to last long at all. There's the equalizer to come through as well. On the hunt gets popped by Kid, but he's so low. Can't get back in. Pokemon trying to tank up for his team. It's a decent start on a Mirko, but it's not quite enough. As you can see, the poke just evaporating the members of Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, Pokemon is actually deceptively squishy this team right here. And look at EDG. They're going to keep going for this objective right here. This is the main point of power for EDG right here. But one false team fight, one decisive team fight from IG, and it will change in an instant.
Yeah, we'll see whether IG can manage to turn this one around. Pokemon's made his way back to base, wants to get to full health, so he has a lot to tank with. It hasn't quite managed to get there yet. He's found his way to the front, but We'll see whether it's going to be enough as Kitties takes so much burst from this blue buff Jace.
Cacao doesn't feel decisive enough to go for the flag and drag initiation, and they're just going to give up the inhibitor right here. I think this is just too passive play from IG. They have a lot of damage on their carries, but they're just not interested in fighting.
Yeah, maybe sort of the syndrome of the last game affecting their minds a little bit here as they try and fend off this EDG onslaught, and we knew that they'd be strong here in this mid game, but IG needs to realize that if they rally, if they get through this, then they'll be able to fight back in this later stage of the game where their team comp really shines.
And maybe that's where IG's coming from. Maybe they're like, all right, give them the inhibitor, we can farm safer in the top lane and go for the game. But there's one thing giving up turrets, giving up inhibitor turrets, and especially inhibitors is usually something you never want to do, because now how are they ever going to be with a realistic shot of picking up Dragon? Especially giving up a 22-minute inhibitor. And we're talking about Maokai. It's not Rod of Ages Maokai. His amount of wave clear, he's going to really struggle to take down these super creeps they push in at 23 minutes.
Oh, yeah. EDG now just grouping up together. Of course, you talk about this all the time. Grouping with a Corki, especially around this mid-game, this 20-minute mark, is very, very important. We can see they're utilizing that very effectively. Deft going for a Bloodthirst a second as well, which I very much like. Trying to get as much AD so that his spells are as ramped up as possible.
It's why I've been so surprised by all the Corkis building Trinity Force into Last Whisper. That was a build I more associated with Ezreal back in the day to maximize your Mystic Shot damage. But Corki has so much flat armor penetration, the 40 armor penetration from his Gatling gun right here, and does so much magic damage to just pile on the AD, get yourself that defensive shield, the Bloodthirster shield, and just watch yourself rack up all the damage.
Oh yeah, as Pawn does get the Mana Immune into the Mirror Mana transform here as well, so he's going to have a big spike of damage as that item has been completed. But Rabbidan's Death Cap here for Rookie as well, so the Syndra starting to find some form. Of course, having a large CS advantage as well as Rookie.
And the Mirror Mana transform, like you mentioned, he's getting towards the Last Whisper. That's the last big item for Jace. Everything else is kind of auxiliary. Everything else is kind of gravy. But this is where EDG want to be playing. They're anchoring IG under their turret and basically saying, eat poke, eat poke, eat poke. Even Maokai, the tanky Maokai right here, look at him trying to deal with these super creeps. It's a losing battle in the top lane.
Yes, he can't even fight creeps at this stage. From Pokemon, he's had a rough series as Cacao drags himself over that wall, and Clearlove going to clear out the vision once again. But Koro finding his way into the bottom side of the map, has teleport available here as well, so he's going to start the push onto the final, one of the final inner turrets. And EDG, they know that they just own the jungle of an Invictus Gaming at this point, and Pawn gets a much needed blue buff.
Yeah, very strange warding coming out from IG here as well. Look at these aggressive wards they have down around the cove near Baron. They have down a Baron ward, but that's all they have, and they're basically giving up access to any minion camp whatsoever just for a bit of Baron insurance. And EDG aren't about taking Baron. They have a decent Baron taking team, but they just want to sit and poke under turrets and take every objective they can.
Yeah, and just capitalize on this mid-game power spike, meaning that multiple members need to be committed if they're going to fend off this EDG push.
Absolutely. And it's just the night and day difference between a Corki that's forced to stay in lane, even with that Trinity Force Sorcerer Shoes, and just lane, like Kid was last game, to this grouping Corki right here. EDG understand their win conditions. They understand this game is on a timer for them. They're effectively playing against the potential of a 5th dragon. They understand that there's just a time mark in this game where they will eventually lose. And they're grouping so smart and playing around that.
Yeah, managing to take out the last 2 inner turrets here as well. 7 turrets now to 1 is the score. And 6,000 gold's the lead. And 6,000 doesn't feel like much, but when it's in this much map control and complete neutral objective control as well, EDG are in a fantastic position in this game. But the Aegis has been completed by Cacao, so there is a brief window of light coming through from the IG jungler, because when he finishes that Locket of the Iron Solari, he's going to be really helping against this Rumble damage, which has just been decimating them so far.
The Equalizer does come out, but they can't force a fight.
Yep. In fact, IG forced to back away. It's a beautiful rocket to come through and get a lot of burst AoE. EDG unable to really capitalize on the interesting placement of that ultimate. On the Hunt has been popped here. EDG just going to walk away.
Yeah, there was actually the teleport pop by Pokemon as well. The communication must have been off there, as the rest of the team just didn't seem on the same wavelength whatsoever. The inhibitor's about to respawn. That's a big win for IG. Of course, Pokemon has been able to free farm, basically got a Spirit Visage out of nothing, just being anchored to the top lane, having to clear super minions for 3 or 4 minutes there. I mean, Maokai will be a relevant force in the team fight, will be able to sit at the front and soak a bit more damage. But have they given up too much to EDG too quickly? That's my question for IG.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can actually sort of find themselves again and get into a position where they can put pressure back onto this map, because now once they've been strangled out so far from EDG after they took that inhibitor, EDG now has all of the control of this map, all of the vision, although a lot of their wards have run out now. It might be an opportunity as IG have decided to go in, and Kakao doing a lot of work. Rookie manages to find the kill here, as well as Clearlove's just going to boot the Thresh back into the team. Kakao's going to fall down here, as well as the rockets are raining through. Nico again with the flashes into the Howling Gales. Oh my gosh, that equalizer was so beautifully placed. And IG, they cannot fight this team, even after this 28-minute point.
Yeah, Rumble and Corki doing so much damage here. It's hard to describe just how strong Deft is right now. Flashing in for the rocket auto kill on his fellow countryman Kakao. They're going to take this top inhibitor. The pings come down on Baron. They can do whatever they want right here. EDG, masterful play.
It's just wonderful to watch. And Invictus Gaming seem to be falling apart. But I have to say, it's a lot down to EDG just playing this out really, really well. Kitty's going to find the death sentence here. Very good not to face check that one, but Q not going to be followed up on here by Clearlove.
Worth noting that basically stops the early Baron pressure right here. Of course, there is a lot of defensive wards down for IG. Is Corki backing in a red ward?
I'm entirely sure there's a furious amount of pings going on to that red buff. As Clearlove is going to come round. Deft's going to find it. Actually, Mirko picking up the kills. Kakao drags his way out. But Kitties is struggling to stay alive for any extended period of time at this point.
Absolutely. Kitties 4 deaths now. Definitely not the Thresh we saw in the previous series coming out from 0. They're going to do so much Baron damage right here. It's ungodly how much damage, how fast they're bursting down this objective. But Rookie's coming in.
Yeah, Clearlove actually takes a massive burst of damage here as well. The equalizer does come through. It's a bit more of a zoning one here, though, as Korra's getting taken down incredibly low. Kid doing a lot of damage there in the backline. They finish him off. Clearlove gets stunned here at the same time. Deft going so aggressive, though. Rookie's going to fall. Pokemon follows. Kakao is so low, he cannot fight as Deft. He's hunting Kid. Takes a boomerang, does not care. And you can see there's the Valkyrie over the top. The flash onto the lantern, and that was beautiful follow-up with the death sentence as well, and Deft gets thwarted in his chase.
Yeah, fancy footwork for Kid there. Kind of was only given a chance because Deft had so little mana right there. Had to use his skills so judiciously. They're going straight to Baron here. That seems really risky.
This could be risky. Deft is making his way around again, but they've got some low health bars here. It's only Kitty's looking around to make sure that this isn't happening, but you can see if he does manage to find someone. I mean, Baron's doing a lot of work here, but Deft, he's found his way in. He's got full health. May not have any mana, but they secure the Baron.
Yeah, the super minions just proved too much. IG couldn't leave their base right there. The inhibitor might be the last piece of the puzzle for EDG. With all the items created, I mean, Korra's just a god on Rumble at this point. So many items. Picks up the completed Void stuff to complement the Needle Archerati was sitting on right here. Doesn't matter how many tanky items, doesn't matter about the locker. This Rumble's going to wreck the next team fight.
Oh yeah, and decides to not even go for that Zhonya's. Probably had about the same amount of gold in order to finish that one off, but wants to get that magic penetration, make sure that he can counter this Locket of the Iron Solari that Kakao was sort of banking on to help them get back into this game with some defensive statistics. But Clearlove not going to find the blue buff here as they want to use this Baron to really push the advantage.
I mean, hard to describe the difference between Pokemon's Rumble that was struggling to finish one item in a 30-minute game and this Korra Rumble right here, which is just a destroyer, the over-leveled, level 17 Rumble with all the magic penetration you could ever even wish for. I mean, you could maybe buy another Haunting Guys. I don't think it even stacks with the Leandries. So he's run out of magic penetration. He's in a good spot.
He's definitely feeling pretty good at this stage. When your only worry is the fact that you can't buy any more magic penetration, you know that something's going right as the siege is now on for real here, and you can see Kid, oh wow, takes so much damage from that rocket. This Kid is going to death sentence the cannon creep into range, but this tower is not long for the world as Valkyrie's actually baited out here. for Deft. IG live to see another wave crash into their base, but you can see the top side of the map, these super creeps smashing down on the Nexus. Kid forced to go back here as well. Scatter the Weak, not going to find a target. Now the creeps come in. Miko very far up as the harpoons to come through as well from Koro. You can see Kid just taking so much poke. These IG members, it's very dangerous where they're staying right now.
Well, they're waiting for the super minions to push into the top wave right here. They are struggling to take down this inhibitor. Despite having a lot of damage onto a turret, they're just getting, it's really risky for them to go for the dive, but they've committed to it.
They managed to take down the inhibitor turret. They want to find a target, but IG managed to find their way out. The inhibitor going to be taken in the bottom side of the map as well, and now the super creeps streaming into the base. Invictus Gaming definitely on the back foot. Need to go back and try and pick up some health here, but you can see EDG heading back. They're going to pick up another dragon. That will be their 4th, and able to threaten now with that huge 5 dragon in the next 6 minutes.
Absolutely. Having the 4th dragon always puts the enemy team on a timer. They know whatever happens, they have to drop everything and contest that 5th dragon, because traditionally 5th dragon has been the death knell for any team.
It has, and again, Pokemon trying to clear out this top side. Has picked up a Warden's Mouse, so has a bit more armor put into his kit, but not a lot else. Certainly not going to be able to wave clear this one through, as Rookie just going to try and throw some minions at each other. And Invictus Gaming, I just don't know what they can do to try and get themselves back into this game, both as far as strategic ideas are concerned and also mentally.
It still is a reality that they outscale EDG's team comp, but it's not going to matter unless they get a huge pick here.
As EDG now pushing up the mid lane. Actually, Koro going to use his newfound Zonya's Hourglass to make himself the golden boy. Definitely proving that one here. As 4-item rumble coming from this top lane. 7, 2, and 3. Koro has been huge for EDG this series.
He's been the difference. It's been all about Koro's power compared to Pokemon, who's kind of had to deal with being camped and really just struggling in lanes right here. Koro has been massive. He's been the superstar of this EDG lineup, which no one would have picked before the start of the LPL split.
Yeah, Miko, they're going to come and try and get this inhibitor as it has respawned. EDG still actually without a Baron buff at this stage. Has worn off. But you can see they've just got so much pressure. Massive gold advantage. So much poke to come through. Def gets caught, but there's the Mikhails just to get him out of it. And they manage to lock down that inhibitor. The middle lane, you have to think, is going to be the next port of call here for EDG as they look to close out this game.
Very risky to turret dive a Maokai comp, but I guess the most important cooldown right here is Koro's Equalizer coming back. It's just about to come up now. That opens themselves up. Look at the poke and how much it's hitting for.
That was gigantic. That accelerated shock blast just tearing through 3 members, taking out about, you know, a third of the health of... Oh my god, Kitty's actually has to go back, and you can see Pawn just happy to tank this one up. They don't need minions here as EDG close in on the final inhibitor in Invictus Gaming's base. Invictus Gaming with no idea what they can do to try and get themselves back into this one. This mid-game comp just doing wonders, getting EDG the advantages that they need. And these super creeps are starting to stream in.
Koro's damage is massive here.
Oh my goodness, look at that equalizer. Koro gets exhausted, but it's not doing too much as he pops that Zonya's yet again. Cacao gets monsooned out of his own Cataclysm. Clearlove tanking up that turret like it doesn't matter. Pawn, he's going to die to the fountain. Kid gets credit for that kill. You can see trading 2 for 1, and these Nexus turrets are not long for this world. EDG are just powering through this one. Koro gets taken down low. IG want to try and find their way back in and defend, but you have to think with 3. Oh my gosh, Rookie just gets flashed on by Def. They want to turn this one around. Sidesteps the death sentence as well. Kid manages to get the kill, but Koro's there with the Flame Spitter, and they want to finish this game. Silences himself, burns that Thresh to the ground, and that's the ace.
Def just looking for style points there. I love the flash animation cancel to get the answering kill on Rookie. They don't have any range DPS. They have to back away. But EDG adding style points to what looks like a 3-0, a 3-point win.
Yeah, and with these 3 inhibitors down, I mean, the members of EDG were very low, and Def falling down means they lost a lot of their DPS, but you can see these Nexus turrets are struggling against the might of these super creeps, and there's nothing Cacao can do. That Nexus is open now. The pause to come in, and I think this is where IG just think to themselves, okay, what can we do to get ourselves back into this game? And then sort of not entirely sure what options they have.
The pause definitely delaying the inevitable right here. Not too many teams come down from all their turrets being taken down, but all we can say right now is it's paused. Maybe tap over the gold. No big purchases left, to be honest, for the EDG side. I mean, at this point, Death's sitting on Trinity Force, Bloodthirster, the Black Cleaver, actually. So even more flat and percentage armor pen available, coupled with the Last Whisper. Even a bit of magic resist to stop him being assassinated by Rookie. The items are just beautiful reading if you're an EDG fan. I mean, even a bit of styling coming out from Korra right here. I was like, I wonder what his 6th Rumble item's going to be, and it's Marillanomicon.
And I actually quite like that. 20% cooldown reduction when he didn't have any more in his build, and it also gives you that healing reduction after 20%, which could be really useful for picking up those extra kills on a target that may have heal. You know, maybe a kid running away through that equalizer. It might work.
I'm not going to reward someone for building cooldown reduction on a Rumble. It's not really a statistic that he's really looking for. It gives him his ult a bit more often, but in a team fight, it really just leads to you losing out on that second rotation of spells. Of course, overheating is usually a good thing in a team fight for a Rumble if he's really able to time it effectively, but if you can't get a second rotation of slows, a second rotation of flame spitters because of building cooldown reduction, it's more of a problem rather than an advantage. But you're right, in terms of the actual effect, the grievous wounds coming down in an AoE from the flame spitter and, of course, from the equalizer, that's still something.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can capitalize on that one, but maybe a Raleig's or a Rabbitin's Deathcap might have been a better option. But look, when you're back in base with a whole lot of gold and you want to buy a cool book, you may as well.
Yeah, we bought the coolest death book in the Marillanomicon. As we see IG, they're playing a bit of PvE here. They're doing their best to take down these very powerful minions.
Yeah, this is the toughest raid that Kakao's ever been to, as he tries to fight off these super creeps. Now that the rest of the team has come back up, IG do have a chance of clearing out the creeps, but will they be able to clear out the EDG, who are waiting another 10 seconds for this Baron, and then inevitably the end of IG?
Yeah, their pathing just took them naturally towards the Baron pit. Of course, it's just spawned. They might as well pick up that buff and go finish this game.
Yeah, Inhibitor is going to be respawning, so not going to have to deal with an extra wave of super creeps as Invictus Gaming, but that Baron was dismantled by EDG, and now they have their sights on that open Nexus.
They're coming in with the Baroned up super minions, and IG in trouble.
They are certainly in trouble as they try and furiously clear so they're not fighting EDG and the super creeps as they try and collapse onto this Nexus. Death Sentence is going to go wide. A nice Howling Gale to come through onto Kitties. He's just going to fall apart as Deft decides not to go for that Nexus. And it's the super creeps is going to be locking those ones down. You can see kills coming down left, right, and center. Kid trying to clear these super creeps. The equalizer to zone IG off their own fountain. And the Nexus falls down. EDG with such a decisive victory against what was a pretty fantastic-looking Invictus Gaming coming up to this point, but they're definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board after that one.
And I was actually really happy with the comp Invictus Gaming picked up. I thought, okay, if they can weather this early storm, they've got the Maokai, they've got the mid-game to late-game tools, they can take this in the late game. But the late game never came. There was so much power coming out from EDG. I'm sure we can go to a replay now just to see kind of the flavor of what we expected this game. So it was already a pretty decent lead for EDG right here, but we'll roll the tape. Deft in the mid lane. Deft is just massive at this point. He's got that Bloodthirster. We see the fight starts right here. The teleport's coming around the back, but look at how much damage Deft is doing unchecked in the back lane here. Even Rookie is zoned out by an AD carry. The flash and to the rocket auto is massive burst damage. IG run away and disarray. They even see Mako using all his CC there.
Oh, that
and Rookie,
equalizer.
he just stood on the burning embers and there was nothing he could do.
And there was nowhere for him to go either. He even flashed. The equalizer just so perfectly placed by Koro. Just such mastery of the champion. And we just haven't seen Pokemon under that much pressure before. And we can see that that could be the chink in Invictus Gaming's army.
Exactly. They were playing their previously 6-0 lineup here where Invictus Gaming, of course, they lost the previous series, but that was running Save and Zatai. They don't have the same excuses of changing a lineup this time. They just were comprehensively outplayed, and it was that focus on Pokemon was the core of EDG's strategy. It wasn't dragon control, it wasn't split pushing, it was let's hold down Pokemon. And the difference in top laners between Koro and Pokemon this series is one of the biggest gulfs in talent and the biggest gulfs in gold we've seen all through the LPL.
Yeah, we'll see whether we can get back to it. But that brings us to the end of the day here for our English LPL coverage. On behalf of myself, Pastry Time, of course, Papa Smithy here, and our whole production crew, thank you so much for watching, and come back tomorrow for more LPL action.